So at this time, let's welcome in Red Dave to give us a little bit of insight to this freshly reopened season that's already winding down. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing well. Little shell shock from yesterday. I was playing some
Yeah.
fantasy basketball. I didn't know what the heck was going on with the coaches. Apparently, Utah's trying to tank to avoid facing the Rockets, and the Nuggets kind of decided to phase back their players' minutes. So I don't really know. As a prop player, I tend to look into the minutes, and it's been difficult to find who's going to get the minutes tonight. So I've been looking at that all day.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding that. But Dave, I'm so glad that you're here. We need some of your professional style wisdom for some of these pretty tricky topics. And obviously, we have a lot to cover. So the East is all set for playoffs. We know that. We've got the Bucks at the top of the pack, Raptors trailing right behind them, and even my Brooklyn Nets, my gorgeous Nets, are snagging a playoff spot, which I'm very over the moon about. But Red Dave, are you the man with the information? I think you are. So lay it down for us. Who actually has a chance of taking the Eastern bracket and making it to the finals?
Well, I should have thought about the Nets because I think they pulled off one of the biggest upsets in history when they beat the Bucks. I think they were 19
Ooh,
point
ha
dogs or
ha
so. It was
ha.
incredible. But if I were going to find a nice value play, I think I'd go with the Celtics at plus 550 right now. I just have a lot of faith in Brad Stevens. Their starting five plus Marcus Smart just really impressed me. I think they got Kemba Walker starting to become healthy again. He's playing normal minutes. And another kind of nuance here is that if the playoffs started today, they would face the Sixers, who are injury depleted. I think Embiid might miss a few games. I think Ben Simmons is out for the season, so it's kind of a much better matchup for them than probably any other team in the top four would want. So that's a big edge. I think they'll get out of the first round easily, and then I think they're like 2-1 against Toronto. So if they play Toronto, I think they'll do fine against them. So yeah, at 550, I think that's probably my favorite play out there in the East.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like pretty much a lock that the Bucks will take the East. But if there's no lines you like, Red Dave says give the Celtics a shot, and that one will hopefully give you a little payday. But Red Dave, we do have a few more games before the playoffs are all sealed up, and we start next week. This week we have games all over. Celtics, Grizzlies starting right after this at 5 Eastern. Blazers versus Mavs, Raptors and Sixers, Heat and Thunder, and on and on. Red Dave, give us a number and give us your picks for this week in the NBA.
Well, yeah, for the most part, I don't really know what the heck's going on with some of these lines because, and even the books don't even know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Mavs at 2.5 underdogs against the Blazers, and if you thought that the Mavs would be healthy, I think they'd be at least 2 or 3 point favorites here. So it looks like they expect Luka or Porzingis to not play huge minutes, and they expect the Blazers in a do or die spot to really just go ham, play Lillard and CJ McCollum like 40 plus minutes, just really going for it because every game for them is going to be critical. But I'm not really so sure because I think Dallas is fairly incentivized to get up to that sixth seed because they would end up playing the Denver Nuggets instead of the LA Clippers. And the Nuggets are a good team, but I think the Clippers are probably the best team in the West. So I think they're incentivized to try to win a couple here and maybe get that sixth seed. So I think the Mavs at 2.5, if they're playing the way they need to play, playing to win. Yeah, I think that's just stealing today. Honestly, it's just a risk. You don't know what those coaches are going to do.
Right, no, for sure. But the Mavs, I mean, honestly, they're looking good. They're sitting at seventh in the West and facing off against the Trailblazers, who are still fighting for their playoff spot. So look for the Mavs to go over tonight. And Dave, before we wrap up here, I need a little bit of info on the players this week. Who's a buy, who's a pass, and most importantly, what players do you trust to make you a little cash?
I tend to go with the players on teams that are in must-win spots, and I didn't like anything on Lillard. I think the lines are pretty accurate, but I did like Yusuf Nurkic to go over 10 and a half rebounds. I just did a quick study on how many rebounds he gets per minute, and I think if he gets 30 minutes here, he's going to be a favorite to get over 10 and a half. But I think he'll get more like 33, 34 minutes here just because uh, going against Porzingis, they might actually have to go up against Boban on the Mavs because he may start again with Seth Curry out today. So they may go two bigs at the front. So I think Nurkic could see 34, 35 minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. And another one I like is Zach Collins. the power forward on the Blazers to go over 7.5 points. If this guy stays out of foul trouble, he's looking at huge minutes, maybe up to 30 minutes, and he's just a pretty good scorer. I think maybe that's a little bit too low. And I tried to find Luka prop bets, but they're just not putting him out there. So if you find anything on him that looks a little bit low, or even Porzingis, I would fire that. I think they're going to play decent minutes tonight, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It's just my feeling.